All right. I'm gonna wait till people start coming, and then we're gonna get right into our we're gonna get right into this this topic of highlighting in logos and why you would want to do it. So let's wait till some people come on in here, and we'll get into um, this tutorial on logos. I'm gonna wait till some people come on through here, and then we are gonna get started. Wait through this populates a little bit, and we're gonna get into this. It's a very interesting topic. I think it's a topic that's not covered very much. Um, Leave a comment, and the highlight feature is a very underutilized feature in Logos Bible software. Um, One though that I believe that can be very helpful in for your own personal study as well as from a teaching perspective. It can really help you to visualize some things that aren't so easy to visualize. And a lot of us are visual learners. That's how we learn. And that is, that's how we learn. So I'm going to get into this right now. And when people come on in, then they'll just come on in. So as I always start, I try to always start with a blank screen. And the big reason why I start with a blank screen is so you know exactly how to do what I'm doing. So, my preferred Bible is the ESV. Um, so I'm going to click on the ESV here. That's going to populate there. And I had my note file, and I want to bring that up as well. So I'm going to type in here notes, and we're going to go into here. Hold on just a second. All right. So we had this inductive Bible study here. We came up with some observations, and down here that we had some prayers and partnership. So first, there's a variety of what there are. I think there are two ways to think about highlighting and ways that we can truly understand how to highlight and their usage. I I guess I should start off by saying this: why you would want to highlight. So highlighting allows for you to visualize. It allows you to see what's not so easy to see. So that can allow you. So being able to highlight can help you with your study to try to get a grasp of what the passage is about, or and two, if you're teaching through it and you can show that your people what are the words that are repeated and how they can better understand it. So one type of highlighting is what I'll call as permanent highlighting, and I'm going to click on notes. I go on highlight. Now I have a variety of different custom highlights that you probably don't have, but you can just add them by doing a new palette. And let's just say I'm gonna call this custom. We'll call this CH. Uh, let's change this. Logos Bible Software highlight. And I'm just gonna make some. So when I click on this, and I want to expand this, and this gives me all of my options that I have. So these are that is for theology, though those were custom made. So I'm looking. I'm going to drag this over here. I'm looking for the CS highlight that I made. It should be. Okay. Not my favorite. There we go. So here we are. So I don't have any new ones. So I'm going to expand this and I'm going to add new style. And these are everything that you have at your disposal. I can change the type of font. So say I want let's scroll this over. So I can have a special font. So I can have this is not dragging the way it's supposed to. So these are the font styles. So I have, and say I want to click on, here's what I'm going to do. Seems like when I drag that on, I'm going to make my life a little bit easier here, because why make life hard when it doesn't need to be? There. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to have a superscription. That's how I want this to be. And we're going to call this crazy highlight, because that's a crazy thing to put a highlight as a superscript. So let's just say I want a solid color, and I want this color to be let's just say I wanted this color. And we're going to move on to text effects. And say I want it to glow, but I don't want it to glow that color. Almost white. So these are, so that's how my highlight is going to look. If I, so you have the option of using one of these. So let's just say that I like that one better. Let's just say I want a glow of, see how it would, so that's going to affect the text. Let's say I want a border, let's just say that I want a jagged edge border. And I just want a single one. Let's see what happens when we put a triple. So, and let's just say I want it onto the text. Let's remove that. So let's just say I want it onto the, let's do it down here. So it's going to go under the text. And that's going to be our, what we call as a crazy highlight. So I'm going to come back here. And I should have an LBS right here, and that should be down there, and I'm going to expand that. We forgot to save it, so we're going to add new style, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to call this crazy highlight, and I forgot to save it, so you have to save it. So we had said we want a font style of a superscript, and we want a background, a solid color. We want this to be red, and let's just say here's going to be our font color. Let's just say we want it that color. And let's just say we want a text effect. We want a glow, but we want it to glow that color. We want borders. We don't want a single line. Yes, we want a single. We want a rippled line, and we want the rippled line to show at the bottom. And we now have saved that. This is our crazy highlight that we can use. So, and that's what we're going to use with our passage, that we're going to use this crazy highlight. So, and right here is where I can set up a shortcut key. So so say for instance, I'm in my passage and just say, I want to do that to Paul. I can either click on there, and what happens here is this now has our custom highlight. There is a problem with the custom there is a custom highlight, and the problem with the custom highlights is, like in this case, let me take my tools out of here, and I want to formatting. I want my visual filters to not be on, so I'm just going to turn those off. The problem, and this is a passage that I have highlighted in the past. The problem with highlights is they are permanent. That is the unfortunate thing about highlights, is it's very hard to turn them on and off. So, but what happens here, and I want to show this, what happens is actually they get saved as a note file. So if I come to here to my notes, all your highlights get saved as what's called as an anchor tag. So when I take that away, Paul is no longer there. So if you ever have highlights, and there's some other ways that you can get rid of the highlights, but that is one way that you can get rid of your highlights. So like this one right here, I had already set a shortcut, and where I just press X, I believe. And so that is, so that's the downfall with highlights themselves. And there is a list of shortcut keys on the how that you can remove a highlight, and I'll go and I'll do a video just walking through, but I wanted to introduce you to the two types of ways that you, or like here, that if I want to erase a highlight, so say for instance I have this right here and I want to erase that, I just click that and now it's gone. I click there, and then I also made this as a shortcut key some time ago. But this gives you an idea of what's going on, and what's going in. Now you're now in one sense that's your highlights that you can turn on and off. And so when I go into my notes, show notes and highlights, these are all of them. If I click on here, then those are off. So that's an option as well, that if you want to have, so my suggestion is if you're going to have certain highlights, tag them, name them, do something. Because if not, then your highlights are really not controllable. You really can't control your highlights the way that you would like. So that is what I would call more as a permanent highlight, and I like it because there's a lot of ways that you can use, like you can do a lot of custom stuff. I can create custom highlights however I want them to be. It allows us to be very creative. The other way that you can do this is through visual filters. Now, I tried to do this earlier in the night, and boy, did I find out something. So I'd like to see maybe someone do some fact checking on me, but I had 46 visual filters. It seemed, and I could be wrong, but everything I tried, it didn't work. It seems there is a max amount of visual filters. There's a max amount of visual filters that will populate in so here are your visual filters. When I want to show them, seems as if there's a max amount that will show up in here. So so when we go to my documents over here, and in here I had like 46, and the visual filter showed up here. It showed up in other places, but it did not show up in the list for me to view them. So I've already got some visual filters out, and I want to just walk with you through the process. So I have a visual filter. I'm going to click on my documents. I have two. I want to look at my Philippians one, because those are the ones that I want to pull up. So I got one on word roots, and we're going to drag that over here. And I have this other one over here where I just have the highlights from chapter 1. Here are all the highlights, and right now that they're off, so that I had turned them off. All right. So this one, I have it by its the default all text. Now you can do anything you want. That you can have, these are the options that you have at your disposal. I have all passages. Now, I have the English Standard Version. You have your option of your top Bible, however that is, top Bibles, or your Bibles. For right now that I just picked the ESV. So here's how the visual filter that I believe I had formatting here. Yeah. So I'm going to turn this on. So this is now on. And right now, it is not selected. So here's my Philippians. And now it highlights it. So one thing that I think is helpful is what I'll do is I will right click, I'll come into here and I'll click text and I'll have my search field in here. And I'm going to drag it over here. And what Logos is going to do when you paste it and you click that, it's already going to put it into the format that you need it to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click copy and I'm going to create a whole new one here. This is just for your display, and I'm going to do a completely different format for that word. So it's going to overlay it on top. So let's just say I want to be large text. So what's going to happen when we come over here, it's going to make that word think in large text. So what it's doing, so as you see here, if I have two of them, it's going to make one a priority, and then it's going to make the last one the priority. I want to show you why why I do it the way I do. I'm going to have a little note file, and I'm going to create a new note. And I'm going to make so this word that I had for partakers, I'm going to select this and I'm going to paste it here. And this is just for display, maybe some troubleshooting that you might find helpful. Let's make that bigger because I think we're going to need it bigger for my display. All right. So earlier on, that I tried to do this and it didn't go, and then it didn't go as well. And I'm gonna show you why. I was so frustrated, but because what happened here? Let's go over here. So what happened here is I did something like this, lemma.g, and if you've ever been on my videos, then you kind of know that, and I go, and the word is SUG, or what had happened was that I had copied this word here, and I was just gonna paste it in, and what happened, and I pasted it, and I clicked from the drop down menu, and now my partakers is gone. Let me show you. So Logos here, and you may run into this, and this is why I'm showing you this. So and it just blew my. I'm like, what is wrong with those? So what you're gonna see, Control Z, and when you come over here, and let's just say we're gonna. So what you're gonna see here, the accent here and the accent here is different. So Logos made a mistake here. So and you're gonna find this out whether you do everything right and for some reason that it doesn't show up. So a test for me, what I'll often do, so let me make sure I go in and I fix it. But when I put this back here into my, and I'm just gonna paste it. That's all I'm gonna do, and click enter. Lemma.g. There it is. All right. So, and so how I troubleshoot this is if I saw, hey, that word's not working, it's not showing up. What I'll often do is I'll click this and I'll click text and I'll search and I'll see if anything shows up. So I'll do something like that, and if nothing shows up, then I know there's something wrong. So that's one way from a visual filter perspective of how you can check it if you're not getting the right thing. And I purposefully did this one because I wanted us to go through this. So another option for you is instead of doing the lemma and doing the root, let me share with you why that's helpful, why that may be helpful in a study like something like an inductive Bible study. So what you find out is that a lot of these words are similar, but they have different lemmas, but the same root. And sometimes instead of um, not having the same one over and over and over again, that I'm going to end up having, I really only want the root VB because it's going to help me to get the general idea. And it's going to help me to find the general idea of up to the passage. So for me, that I want all of my synonyms to be the same. So I get the big picture first because in inductive Bible study, the goal is always to get the big picture. And once I get the big picture, that I can start to split hairs and I can start to see the nuances between different words. So I had done, let's, we're going to go into our visual filters. We're going to undo that one, and we're going to click on our root. Now, what we see here, and sometimes the all caps is not really that very helpful. It's far better to do something that's more clear, point blank, like here. So each, and even that, and I like to, that's why I really like these background ones. Let me show you how, let's just do the purple foreground. That's what's going to show up there, but something with, so say for instance, I want orange and it's going to have a background. That to me is the most helpful. That is the most helpful. And you might be wondering, why is Partakers there? Partakers is there, BB, because that's going to, normally yellow it, if it shows up, like yellow, blue is the default for whenever you search. So I'm going to undo that because we don't want to be confused. Okay. So these are all from the same root. These are from the same root of a nakata. Now we add another word, right? That was in our study of the inductive template. And that word, so we also pointed out that there were two words for prayer, right? So there were two words that were for prayer. And since I want to get the big picture, I want all my synonyms to be the same. So we come down here. Let's increase our font a bit because I'm not a big fan of that smaller type font. We're going to increase our font so we can see more and see better. I'm going to drag this over here. So now I'm going to try there was this other word for prayer right down here. And I'm going to not do the lemma, I'm going to do the root. So we're going to copy that text and we're just going to put it in here and we're going to paste. And that check mark there, the check mark tells me that's the root, and the circle there, that tells me that's the lemma. Now I want the root, I don't want the lemma. And let me show you why. So if I were to put this here, and I want the root, and let's just say, and I'm going to change the color to, let's just say to brown. Now what's going to happen here, but I don't like brown. So brown is too similar to that color that we have. So we're going to come over here and maybe I want to pick a color that's so different. Sometimes it takes a little while, but we also had this other word for prayer that I wanted also the root. Let's try to do that. And I also want that to be purple as well. I want to close that out. Root.g. Here's what we're going to do. So what I found out here is that it's not when I changed it to purple, it didn't show the color that it was supposed to. Now I want to see something. So this happens sometimes. So I'm going to have this prayer because this shows up first, and I want to select copy text. Now what I want to do is I'm going to click paste, and I want this one. So I know that works. Let's try. So what we have here is a very similar issue that we had with our other one. So sometimes when you're putting in this root, so let me show you, because here's the here's the root word. So we're going to come back to our notes here, and this is, and so we have this one. So that is the one. This is the one that it had brought up when we went through the actual root word. Now, when I come over here, what we see here is that this one has this right here. And it's all in the detail. So sometimes logos, things that they have tagged are not the correct. So you're going to have to double check some of this stuff. So here's the one that came with our search. Here's what they tagged it. So the reason why it didn't show up is because there's an accent in the one that is not searchable. So you're just going to have to go through this sometimes whenever you're going through and you're searching, that you're just going to have to go and search, and make my suggestion, search it first and see if it even populates anything. If it populates anything, that's when that you go on and you do your visual filter. So we also have this other word for prayer. Now we need to paste this back in there so it shows up with our prayer. We have to get rid of that one. And we're dragging. So our other word was down here for prayer. It's this one right here. And I would bet you that the reason why it didn't show up is because Logos has tagged it something different. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. That's what they did. So the same way here, and the reason why it's not showing up in our the reason why it's not showing up there. So I want to have a purple. Now when I come here, voila, it's there. Now the reason why it's that way is because it's a mix between purple and yellow. So I want to bring this up because this is the so now I'm going to bring this up here, and we have two different ones. Now we have this other one right here, and so we have this other one, and I want to just show you here. And what we're seeing is sometimes logos doesn't have the right tagging for you to pull this up. What we're finding is if it's a root word, it's typically not going to have an accent or anything like that. Not at all. So when I come over here and I look, here's the one that is tagged with logos. Here is the actual root word that when we searched it, that it came up. So Logos has not tagged everything correctly in the way that it searches and in the way that it brings it up. But have it, so you're going to have to double check. Now, what I'm also going to show you is that when we did this one, when we did this one right here, when we went over here and we searched for the prayer and we clicked on the root, we clicked the text, and we had paste, it gave us two options. Now, what we can see here is that with logos, what they actually did, they actually put the lemma here in for the root. So, and what would happen here is that if I were to put that in there, if I were to put, so say for instance, if I were just to put this, that my text would not even show up. Because the lemma is different than the root. So if I were to click on Acts 27:29, and if I were to see this word, this word prayed, now and because I have the lemma here, now this would also show up because it's the same root, but my word in my text would not show up because theirs has, forget what this is called. This is not called an accent, but I forget exactly what that is called, but that's why it doesn't show up. And what is the great thing about this is that you can create a variety of visual filters to really pop out the text when you're studying, when you're teaching, and it can be a effective way. I use Logos Bible software in the classroom when we're studying or whatever. So that's kind of what I do here. And there was also the word partakers, I believe. So partakers. So he also had the root. We wanted the root for he also have in our one right here of our inductive. He also had the word partakers, and partnership and partaker. So we also want the root there. So but we're going to go back and we're just going to delete this one because we no longer need it. So now we're going to have our partnership, and it is the Greek word koinos from the word koinonia. Now let's look down here about our word for partakers. Same root word, koinos. And we want to get the big picture. Now, we can split hairs later about what is the difference between each word and what's the nuance. But for right now, we want to get the big picture idea. So I'm going to take this root here, and I'm going to have this text, and I'm going to so I want to search this, and I want it to come up correct. And I do this just to always check. Boom. Now what's going to happen here is I'm going to copy this, and it's the same thing here. There's a root and there's a lemma. The lemma has the accent mark. The root does not. So I would bet if I were to paste this, yes, they have the lemma tagged and not the root. And if I click on the word here, it's not going to show up. And we're just going to click it, and we're just going to pick a color that how about something that might be, let's do a double box because that would make it very clear. So that is not what shows up. So this is showing up the search. So now I'm going to paste what I had before. And now when I come in here, we should see the double box. And yes, we do. This makes it more clear. This makes it, and if I don't want to see the yellow, I just remove that. But say that I just don't want a yellow box. Or let's just say I want something more than just a box. Logos does not allow you to do double ones, but with certain ones, I can do the same thing. And let's just say, now I don't think it's going to do anything, but let's see, BB, because I think it's going to make one a priority. Let's just say I haven't chosen green yet. So let's just see what's going to happen. Oh, okay, so what this does is it makes one a priority. You cannot do two. Logos by default, it's going to make one a priority and probably the last one. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions at all about what we covered? And do you have any questions about highlighting? I am going to take that as a no. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything tomorrow, but I'm going to try to do more of these nuanced videos, and then we're going to get more into Logos Bible software. You have a wonderful, wonderful day.